There are a lot of contracts, a lot of things when you have a past life as a nun.
We're literally lied to that it would be a beautiful church to us where we could continue and pray, but it was not. We were literally um, persecuted, chasing down, patriarchy, Catholic Church control. It's just you have these beautiful divine gifts, and it's lost on me that I'm just like, I don't see you fully in there. So where are
Yeah.
you not fully showing up in your website, and what's causing you to hide?
With like lowering my prices, like aligned with expansion and the way that you've explained everything, I've definitely gone back to what feels comfortable instead of being at a price that like feels a little stretchy and a little uncomfortable.
The world has also taught women to be guilty, to feel guilty about wanting money. It's not about wanting money. It's money's not even real. It's actually, and I literally had to learn that. It's like, it's not about the money. It's about the way that I choose to lead my life and command my life and the standard of my life.
Welcome to Coaching Kaleidoscope, where you get an inside look to coaching like no other. In this series, you will witness rapid-fire 20-minute coaching sessions covering a kaleidoscope of topics. Join me, Samantha Clark, a passionate, transformational, and intuitive coach, for a front row seat to my one-on-one sessions with some of the most incredible coaches out there. Then the tables turn as roles reverse and my guest coach takes the lead, guiding me through a powerful experience. Time may be short as we're put to the test, but the raw, unscripted, inside look at the expertise and vulnerable side of heart-centered coaching promises to be transformational. Hi, Almira. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me on this Coaching Kaleidoscope.
Thank you for having me. This is so exciting. It's brilliant.
Oh, thank you. I'm really excited. So basically, we'll each get 20 minutes to flip flop and coach each other and get coached. And yeah, so tell me a little bit about yourself and tell the audience what you do and your coaching style and all of that.
Yeah, I'm a business and visibility coach. So I work with entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs, to grow and scale their companies. And I typically work with a female entrepreneur who's already got a few multiple six figures, as they ideally want to grow to 500,000. So that's a sweet 500,000 mark. And then I also do work with entrepreneurs who've already hit the 500,000 and want to go into the seven figures. So it's getting that leap, excuse me, getting that leap into multiple six and then into seven figures to grow and scale their businesses. I've been an entrepreneur for, oh my gosh, it's all so hard to say, almost 20 years, and I've grown my own companies. I previously had a PR and social media company. I actually still have a public relations company where I work with entrepreneurs to grow their thought leadership. And then I'm a business coach and visibility coach, as I said. And the visibility piece comes in because I do believe as you grow and scale your company, that you need to grow and scale your visibility. So teach you how to do that. And then we work with the entrepreneur on growing her visibility massively.
Oh my gosh, you're such a powerhouse in your field. That's incredible.
Thank you. Yeah, it's super exciting. And I love the opportunity to work with clients one-on-one to be able to, get a really customized roadmap that's very specific to them. And that's one of the key pieces that I do is being able to lean in and act as a high-level mentor specifically to grow and scale the business. And as you'll see today, it's almost a freer coaching style that just digs deep right into you. So yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. I'm really excited for this. And yeah, let's get started. So I have
Yeah.
my coin here, my Lady Liberty. So I'm gonna flip it. You call it. Let me know heads or tails, and then if you get it right, then you coach first.
Great. Tails came to me. So,
Okay, love it. Oh, it's heads.
oh, perfect. Great. I
Okay.
think I wanted you to go first.
Oh, okay, perfect. So yeah, so I'll coach you first. So get into my I get hot, so I better just go ahead and take this off now. All right. So, yeah, so tell me about, what's going on with you and how I can help you, with what you're going through. Yeah.
Yeah. So as we previously discussed, I owned, excuse me, I such a frog. I previously owned a PR company, which I grew to a seven-figure business. And there's so much of that the masculine was involved in it. And it wasn't massive hustle, but there was a lot of to doing and creating and a lot of structure to it. And it was super successful and it was awesome. But it's, I felt very in control of that, being in that energy. And so what's been coming up for me has been feelings of control, especially as I release into my feminine, releasing into my human design, trusting into the universe. And so a lot of feelings of I need to control this. It's fundamentally just been hard to surrender in co-creation to the universe. And as I kind of went through it in meditation, it's like the domino effect, if you will. Feelings of control, what's the issue? And so it was lack of trust in the universe, belief that the universe is not benevolent, it's a hurtful universe, that things don't get to be that easy. Ease doesn't happen. I have to make it happen. It's that control, and it's the limitations of my mind and body. And as I started to do more investigation and get really curious about it, what came up for me, and it's literally a physical carrying a ball in my body and actually like gripping in my body. I feel physical pain and sensation. It is a lack of trust in the universe and betrayal by the universe, partially from situations in my life in this lifetime, but it's actually really from previous lifetimes.
Yeah.
And so just wanting to release that. And I do believe there's the sense of, the controlling patriarchy or controlling masculine, if you will, that the masculine is not allowing it's not releasing me. All of a sudden I felt like there was just a hand over me.
Mhm.
And so maybe that's what it is that it's just the pulling. It's funny, as I do that, it's like all of a sudden my back wants to open because it can relax being in the masculine. So yeah, it's almost like a masculine grip, but betrayal over the feminine. So I would love to clear that.
Yeah, it's so interesting. As you were talking about that, immediately when you like pulled across, I saw in my my third eye, just like this masculine figure over you. So,
Mhm.
do you think that like when you were going through this in the meditation, did you feel like when you were connecting to that past life, like that felt really strong and you were getting the sensation from that? Or now after the meditation, like are you still really connected to the sensation that you were feeling? Like I want to be able to have you tap back into whatever's still the strongest.
Yeah, it's still that sensation. And I
Since
can literally feel it going through my left SI joint. It's yeah, it's joined us on this call basically. And I can
oh
really,
gosh,
now that I know it's there, I've been carrying it. And for anybody who can like see it, I literally, it's like I'm carrying it. It's,
wow.
and it goes down through my chest and into my left kind of glute SI joint into my sacrum. I'm literally just carrying this big ball. And yeah, it's like it's a dark force. I feel like I'm almost like shielding myself. Yeah.
Okay, so what does that feel like? So you're carrying this ball and it's massive, but like what does it actually feel with? Is it like full of air? Is it really dense? Like really tune into it.
Humorously enough, it's actually like it's it's black. And
Mhm.
remember, with cartoons when we were kids, like the ball and chain, right? But inside, it's actually there's nothing inside there. It's literally like I'm carrying a painted ball, but it's heavy. Um, Even though it's hollow, it's heavy because I literally can feel the weight of it pulling me down. And it's obviously filled with energetic stuff. It's not
Yeah.
filled with anything that's actually like solid. It's not tangibly heavy. It's the energy of it, the emotions, the anger, the everything that I'm carrying. Yeah.
What do you feel when I say illusion?
Yeah. It's definitely not, it's not real. So
Mm.
I can see that it's like an energetic or emotional illusion.
Yeah. Okay, so let's try to clear this. So go ahead and like really allow yourself to feel into that energetic ball there, that dark void that you're carrying around and how it's connected to your body. And then also like on the outside of you, which is really interesting, definitely like in your aura space and just allow yourself to feel the sensation of it. And on a scale from 1 to 10, like 0 being no sensation and 10 being like a really strong, probably the strongest sensation you've ever felt, where are you feeling that?
I'd probably say I'm 11 or 12.
11, 12. Okay. Yeah. So go ahead and just keep breathing into it. And are you willing to see where this came from?
Yes.
Okay. So when is the first memory or experience you have of this sensation? Just go ahead and
Um,
do that.
I'm a nun in
Okay.
France, and then I'm standing in front of the Notre Dame Cathedral,
Mm.
which I do understand is a former sacred feminine priestess worship site.
Yes, yes. So there are a lot of contracts, a lot of things when you have a past life as a nun. So, what is stressful about you standing there as a nun in front of this cathedral?
Betrayal.
Betrayal. And you portrayed yourself or by someone else.
It feels like me. I can't see her face. And as I'm doing this, my right foot is pressed into the ground, but my left foot will not go down. It's like the feminine, there's a lot of fear there, more anger, bitterness, disappointment. Oh, so I used to be like a holy woman, as all women, women priestesses, we were all holy beings of the sacred feminine. And we were literally removed, the erasure. And so the way to be close to God, it's funny, my foot is like starting to come down. The way to be close to God, or not even God, just in connection in the universe, in our divine place. I had to become a nun, but they lied to us about what that would be. And then they tried to control us. So there was a lack of freedom. Whereas as priestesses, we were beautiful, we were gorgeous, we were wearing colorful dresses. My
Mhm.
dress is pink or red. And actually, Samantha, you were there as well. You're wearing a beautiful emerald necklace. And yeah, we're literally lied to that it would be a beautiful church to us where we could continue and pray, but it was not. We were literally persecuted, chasing down, patriarchy, Catholic Church control.
Yeah, so that feeling of betrayal, is and then that is coming from this being lied to, like signing up for this
Yeah,
and being lied to,
yeah.
or is it the fear that's coming through?
Oh, it's still being lied to.
Okay.
And
And what are you saying to yourself
uh
that you couldn't say?
yeah, you fucking lied to us. But it's like
Ah,
there was horrific abuse and treatment of women. I was not killed, but oh yeah, there's some. I can see women being like dragged screaming and being burned, jumping into the Seine as
wow.
we're being forced to watch this. But so it's not me. I'm not carrying anyone else's physical trauma. Um, it's watching this, it's
Watching
witnessing
it.
this,
Yeah.
and violation. It's the violation.
I feel like your connection to the like being grounded to the earth, it just kind of like was like swept you under your foot, like knocked you over.
Yep. It was literally it's the rape and pillaging of women. I mean, I don't see women being raped, so I'm using that the not very nice way of saying this, but it's like the feeling of having your village being attacked. It's the level of attack. The why did we trust them? Like, why did we even trust them in the first place? Oh, because they came to us with nuns.
Mhm.
And it wasn't actually the men speaking to us. There's a man there, but these women were already these women were brainwashed, and we let them brainwash us into trusting this. We literally walked into our own death.
Yeah.
We played a hand in our submission.
The
That's what the
responsibility.
blame is. The blame is on us. Like, yeah, but what is it that women were forced to give up their control of the world, their power in the world, and look at what men did to it. We allowed this. And I think that's what the anger is that's actually coming up. What, yeah, is women allowed all the shit that's happening today. We allowed that to happen.
Right.
That's where my feeling of weakness and powerlessness comes from, is that they're stronger than us and they've always been. And we just like, we didn't get it. And all we simply had to do was say no, and we never did. Whether or not like they brutally control us or whatever is another story. But the point is that we allowed it.
So in order for you to have your power back here, is it clear to you like what you need?
Oh, I think it's forgiving women
Mm.
and the universe. I'm angry at the universe and at God for even allowing these people who say they are people of God. But why did God even create this? That's what to me is confounding. It's just even, why
It's
did
like
God
the
create
purpose.
narcissists? Why
Yeah.
did God create this? Why did God create evil? Why did God create war? That's the root of this, is the biggest question that lies right there. If the universe is benevolent, if God is kind, why did he or she actually create this?
Okay, I want you to bring in the most holy and sacred guide, like specialty guide that can answer these questions for you for women and go ahead and ask for a guide that you think would be very specific for answering these questions.
Oh, I initially thought it would be Jesus because I've done a lot of work with Jesus since our last conversation, but
Mm.
it's goddess of abundance who just came up.
A goddess of
Of
abundance.
abundance, abundantia, the Greek goddess of abundance just came up. Hmm.
Beautiful. Does she have a name?
It's abundantia. Is there
Beautiful.
anyone else who's a specialist? Okay. The Greek goddesses of abundance and fortune just came up. That's interesting.
Okay, and so let's start asking her questions like why does God allow these things to happen, or why would this like benevolent universe, like how do we believe in that when
Yeah.
things like this happen?
So tell me, why does God allow this to happen? And why does a time that was so sweet turn into such horror or darkness? Hmm. Because she wanted the priestesses or the women to be the bearers of light. And by bringing darkness into the world, it's actually empowered women because it put us into the world. Whereas before we were in the world, but we practiced together and in community, which is amazing. But it wasn't doing the bigger work of putting us out in the world everywhere. Oh, we were very confined in a good way, but we were confined to our places of worship. And by making the world a darker place, it's gone on for far longer than it should have, is what she's saying. It's because like they couldn't envision the level of patriarchy and how horribly people would treat each other, like the Holocaust or genocides happening in the world. So it actually shifted out of balance, which wasn't their plan. This was actually not part of the plan for this to happen. They planned for this to happen to a certain level, but this actually has gotten completely out of control. So our
Yeah.
world is in a space right now where it's completely imbalanced and it's out of control. But the whole idea was actually to suppress women, but not in the way that it happened, but it was actually to put women into individual homes, into individual parts of the world to continue to live lineage, but also to heal and to be the matriarch in every home or in every community, to bring her holiness basically into smaller circles. But that
Yes.
was done on purpose to be able to bring God's love into each person and to be able to reach more people. But the whole thing the plan got out of control. But then my question is that you're God. How do you not control this?
Free will.
Mm,
So when you initially started talking, and you may have worked through this, past this already, but we had like Lemuria and I can't think of the name of the other city that was like more masculine that fell. We had the like a feminine and a masculine, and they were separate, and they both fell because they didn't have each other. And I wanted you to ask her if like this was supposed to be the integration of balancing like the masculine and the feminine and bringing them together.
it's funny, she didn't answer that question for the collective. She just answered it for me.
Okay.
Is that I actually remember how Kate Scudder the other day was talking about the sacred integration and the alchemization of the masculine and the feminine.
Mm-hmm.
I need to I need to learn to integrate them. I think I am. I'm not. I'm doing a super shitty job of integrating them and but not even integrating them, having them work together.
Oh, I don't think you're doing a shitty job. Look at you right now and the work that you're doing. You were doing so much more than most people, and it's for you to carry this. So, um, I want her to show you like in in your actual life, like not when you're in meditation where it looks so beautiful and easy, but like how can you integrate that into your real world life?
Yeah. So the how that is the
Mm.
screaming is actually not my masculine. Because it's like my masculine, it's like it's pulling me and being like, dude, you the masculine is saying, I need your energy to the feminine. So masculine here, feminine here. Masculine is saying, I need your energy, I need your flow, I need your ideas. Like it's literally saying, I need the energy. I need you to let go of the victim and disempowering narrative that is continually running through your head because you literally have everything set up. Just integrate it together, alchemize. When you can alchemize and when you can trust in the two of them actually working together and get my energy right. And it's not hard. Literally, it's saying is that, oh, Mary, you're creating such a big story about, oh my God, what am I going to say that's going to attract people and blah, blah, blah. The energy is what attracts people. Just get into the right energy and do the masculine thing of doing a social media post or writing a newsletter.
Like the back end
And
work and just leaving that and letting it support you,
yeah,
not trying to
like,
control it.
yeah, it's there. It's like I was afraid that my fear is that I would end up going back into hustle. And this is not hustle. Energy, rest, calm, boom. Social media. I'm just using an example of a
Yeah,
social
yeah.
um, post. Do the thing, write the post, send the newsletter. The how is that we actually put it to the we put it up. That's the how. But then it's up to the universe because you forget we're co-creating. I've just been afraid to surrender.
Okay, so today, since we're short on time, I want you to ask her if she wants you to do like a quick forgiveness ceremony, or if you want to do that on your own time, if she thinks it's more important that you clear out like these contracts from being a
Yeah.
nun.
She says right now.
Right now? Okay. So I want you to take yourself to like this like off-world place, and it's just like a platform,
Mhm.
and there's nothing else there. It's just like this platform kind of floating in space.
Mhm.
Okay, and you're standing in the middle of it. Okay.
Mhm.
And I want you to imagine all of the people, all of the women, all of the other people that were very close to you when you were a nun, when you were lied to, when all of these things happened. I want you to have those close knit people make a circle around you.
Mhm.
Okay, holding hands. They're in this with you. Okay. And then the people just outside of them that were impacted by this, their family, or well, sorry about that. It was my alarm to
Nope.
give
I'm here.
myself gratitude. Um, and then just outside of that inner circle, the people that their relationships that were impacted by this.
Mhm.
And then from there, just like expanding, like all of the people all of the women, all of the men that were impacted by this, like the ones that did the wrongdoing, the ones that were, because if you think about it, like we as a culture, we're taught things. And even like, I mean, this really gets deep for the amount of time that we have, but like in the Holocaust, like people, um, what was fed to them and the lies and the things that we have to go along with to keep ourselves safe. And sometimes like power just consumes us, right? And maybe we're human, so we are capable of experiencing both sides of that, of like doing harmful things and doing benevolent things. And, like we make a choice all the time. And sometimes like we make the wrong choice.
Mhm.
So just everyone here in this circle and taking a moment and like, are you willing in this moment, are you willing to forgive? Forgive
Yes.
all of the women that allowed this to happen to them, all of the men that allowed this to happen, and for what they did. What's coming up for you that's hard to forgive?
Yeah, no, it's actually the judgment is clearing out. And so I've been holding judgment and like a humongous grudge. That's literally what it is that it's a grudge and it's bitterness. And it just like all of a sudden the judgment just cleared. It expanded and then popped.
Wow.
Hmm.
Now, I really feel like I want you to say this 3 times. Like, I break all contracts and agreements through all time and space,
I break all contracts and agreements through all time and space,
across all dimensions, destinies, realities, frequencies.
across all dimensions, realities, frequencies, destinies,
Mhm. And I break them now.
and I break them now.
Okay, so two more times. I break all contracts and agreements through all time and space,
I break all contracts and agreements through all time and space,
across all dimensions, destinies, realities, and frequencies,
across all dimensions, realities, frequencies, and what was the fourth?
densities.
Destinies.
And I break them now.
And I break them now.
And one more time. I break all contracts and agreements through all time and space,
I break all contracts and agreements through time and space,
across all dimensions, destinies, realities, frequencies.
across all dimensions, destinies, realities, and frequencies.
And I break them now.
And I break them now.
Mhm. So, what is something that you can all, maybe like a gift that you can all have, that were impacted by this, something to allow you to move forward in this, and like that, like a symbol that you've been through this experience, but you've chosen to forgive and to move forward.
Yeah, this big pulsating heart just came up. It's like
Mm,
pink, and it's every time it beats, it's more and more vibration, or it just keeps radiating more and more. The
beautiful.
way to counteract this is actually to soften and to just like connect through heart
I
and
love
love.
that's so beautiful. And you like how many people would you say are there?
There's thousands.
Thank you for bringing this healing to me as well. And and so like anytime that this comes up and it's hard for you to forgive, you can recognize that like you're not in this alone. Like all of you are doing this work together, and like someone else that is clearing this and doing this work, it's affecting you and all of these other thousands of people, right? Like you are all doing this and growing and expanding and like getting stronger together.
I love it. That's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome. How are you feeling?
So good. And it's also giving me a beautiful tool that when I feel it coming up again is that I literally know just what I need to go back to. And that's it's just so handy. It's like hacking the healing, if you will, right? Which is great.
Uh, it was hard to do that like forgiveness thing in such a short
Yeah.
amount of time. I really
Amazing.
like to add more detail to it. So I hope that it was still as
So
potent.
good.
So you'll have
So
to let me know how it goes from there. If anything's lingering, then we can
yeah.
reconnect and work on
Yeah.
that.
I love it. Amazing.
Good,
Thank
good.
you.
Do you that was really powerful what came forward, like with the nun and the past life and gosh, all of that.
It's amazing how this stuff is coming up, but I think it's just fascinating how like we're all remembering to a certain degree, and it's also very comforting that it's happening across the collective. It's not just me, because otherwise I would be like, what is going on? Like this is so weird. And I think that's also a part of it is that, I identified with or was in like the corporate world, even though I was an entrepreneur, but in a corporate world. So as much as I absolutely divinely believe in this, there's a part of me that's so skeptical that it's like, really, really, and I think it's kind of getting over ourselves. And particularly when like I work with, my female entrepreneur clients, and just as much as we were talking about yours, is that we're all still uncovering. And it feels extremely weird. I have to say that, but it's also pretty amazing.
I highly recommend that, like you, whenever you have these experiences, that you write them down in a journal because it's easy to forget, but it's so powerful to come back to and just like just remember that experience you had. And
Yeah.
yeah, that was really cool to watch you walk through that. You were so powerful. Like I love watching you connect with those past lives and working through that. It's just so beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you for guiding me through it.
Yeah, you're so welcome. That was really cool that that goddess came through of abundance.
So cool. This is actually, I wonder if I can show it to
Oh,
you.
it froze.
My vision board.
You'll have,
Oh,
yeah, I'm sure that she's gonna come through to help you with some other things.
totally. I don't know.
Maybe
Oh, I'm
maybe
sorry.
connecting with her. Oh, you're okay. Connecting with
Yeah.
her before you start to like
Mm,
transmute like whatever is that your vision board?
yeah, it is. And so I can't, 'cause I'm holding on to my plugs, unfortunately. But in the second or after the big white piece, underneath it, there's the goddesses. Yeah. So I've turned my vision board of life and business. I've added goddesses up there. So yeah,
Oh, I
which is
love
super cool.
that. That's really cool. I had a
Packing it all, putting it all in there. So it's a bit of an altar as well as the vision board.
Love that. I had a dragon start to come through the other night and I was doing like these other meditations and so I didn't tap in and I keep getting like these things coming up about dragons. So I'm like, okay, I need to go in and have a moment and like connect and see what's going on with this dragon and what message they have for me. So this work is so cool.
It is. Oh my gosh. Which is now turning to you. I think you have the coolest job, frankly.
Oh,
Do you want to get into it a little bit for everybody who's
yes, I would
listening?
love to.
Yeah,
I'm so excited for this. Yeah.
go for it. So tell us about you. And then you and I have obviously talked about the areas that you were experiencing. So if you want to dive into you and then those two areas, and then we'll get into it.
Yeah, so I am a transformational and intuitive coach, and I have so many different skills that I've picked up, and so really like talking talking about like what I do and then using like the verbiage that connects with my ideal client and like what she would use and so sometimes I feel like I am not expressing like the quality of the transmission like what I'm capable of doing for other people and like communicating that in a way that that reaches my client and she's like a full body hell yes like I got to get in that room
Yeah.
and so that's one of the things, like communicating the quality of my coaching expertise. And then, I had a price point for, I just have one offer right now, and it's like a 4-week package. And I lowered my price this year because, just like after being with family and like just noticing other things collectively, that price point stopped like being regulated with my nervous system. And so I felt like going with a lower price, like aligned better with collectively, I guess. I don't know. I'm working through that, but that's where I'm at, what feels good. And then, and just talking about, so like, as being a new business owner, meeting my 2024 like financial goals and tying it into being able to communicate what I'm doing and putting services out there that people want.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
I
that
love
makes
it.
sense.
I have to ask the question, Samantha. Do you recognize how powerful you are?
I think I do, and sometimes I have that thing that we all have, like that
Joe? Yeah,
that imposter syndrome. Yeah.
yeah. And when I look at your website, is that the healing and the work that you just did with me, I don't feel like that's reflected in your website. And this is also part of me. Again, as a projector, I'm very blunt. So I just say as I feel it is and take what works for you and what fits with you.
I
And so
love that.
when
Yes.
I look at your language, I see an absolutely beautiful program, but I feel a sense of power in there for the woman you want to coach for your ideal client. I feel a sense of power, but using words like timid, I think, what is it? Or she's afraid to the woman who wants to step in her power, there's something missing. But it
Hmm.
also feels like the power of this work is missing. And so that would be an element that I would recommend including in your language and also you introduce yourself as an intuitive and transformational coach. What does that mean? And what about this whole spiritual piece? Because I think that's so significant. And sometimes we put in our own blinders is that like, well, the woman who has the money to pay for me isn't necessarily spiritual or whatever, but then they're not your people then. So have you clearly identified who your ideal client is? Have you gone through that work?
Yeah, I've gone through that work. I went through and like just channeled like my ideal client and someone that's like successful in their business and maybe like a holistic mom and spiritual and just kind of like uh, really trying to navigate this part of herself, like that spiritual side, but also, afraid to step forward in it and like own it and like show up like to her family as like this, like intuitive spiritual embodiment of a person, you know?
Yeah. And in my perspective, that's exactly what she's craving. She just has no idea how. So how do you support that and in bringing it out? So, just looking at other examples of people like Sarah Jenks, for example, what does hers look like? And I'm not saying you plagiarize, but you get inspiration from other people and what their language is. And does it feel yummy and juicy and powerful to use a piece of language? I mean, at the end of the day, there's words all over the internet. And again, I'm not suggesting you take a word, but if a word feels right, how can you use it in your website? Again, I'm also as a projector, we don't actually have a sense of ourselves. So we learn by looking at other people.
Mhm.
So that's why I'm like, 'cause some days I'd be like, am I just like, oh, I feel guilty for stealing that idea or something? But I find it inspiring. So what can you reframe in there as opposed to, oh my God, I'm looking at somebody's website to steal it? Because you're not, right? There's
No,
words in the world everywhere.
I definitely resonate with that and like the same thing because when I look at something else, like I like to have some sort of framework and then my creativity builds off of that. So,
Yeah.
and I'm a generator, so
Yeah, there you go. So how can you get really creative? Like what makes you creative? And when you can get into that creative zone and then start playing with words and where do you feel powerful and then actually tapping into her. You've had me tap into different lifetimes. So how can you tap into her and being very, very clear? What is it? They say manifesting is like you're going to a high-end restaurant. You're not going to McDonald's, you're going to a high-end restaurant. How do you want your steak? How do you want your fries? How do you want the sauce? You have to be very, very specific because the universe works in specifics. And they like it needs the blueprint. It needs your ideal client. So when you say that she's a successful woman, what is that definition of success? But then of course, you can't be super specific that you expect the universe to receive it, that you expect the universe to work through a straw, right? So
Mhm.
again, detaching and put it there, but you still need to have that framework and that roadmap for how she behaves. What is she shopping for? I once did an event and my own coach had me look at what drinks everybody was reaching for because that would tell me like it's that level of detail. And I just thought it was super interesting. And she was like, what music are the women dancing to when you play your playlist? So like really getting into her and getting fun. But when I go back to the concept of success, what is success to her? But where does she need that support? And if she's holistic and spiritual, is she trying to tap more into that? So I think it's really about, again, when I look at your website, it's just you have these beautiful divine gifts, and it's lost on me that I'm just like, I don't see you fully in there. So where are
Yeah.
you not fully showing up in your website and what's causing you to hide? And I think that's then pushing through a visibility wound or something, which
Mhm.
and like I actually, and I'll send them to you. They're actually on my link tree, but I'll send you the links, is EFT tapping scripts for power and visibility. So where's Samantha afraid of being visible, which is a wound, obviously, we just went through it, that we're afraid of it. But where are you afraid of being visible? Where can you tap into and tap into her? We talked about tapping into her frequency, which is an emotional state. So what is the emotional state that she wants to be in? And again, tapping into those desires. Does that help?
Yeah, yeah. I definitely need to look at being misunderstood. I think that that's
Mhm.
where it comes from because like just the communication so that way like what I'm saying is being received as I'm meaning it to.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll do that.
And what is your belief of the women who leave your programs? Like, how does she leave as? What is that transformation? And again, I used to believe that you could write, just live your dream life, but we're so rooted in outcomes and the tangible. Like, what is the actual tangible that they would be? Is that there's the empowerment in being a spiritual woman or feeling like they are powerful enough to be fully seen and to love themselves. I don't know what, like working through. So what are those desired outcomes? Do you know what it is?
Yeah, so just like owning your authenticity and owning grace, like just knowing how to navigate grace for yourself, grace for others, like having this like this perspective that's kind of like a viewer of things that are going on. So you don't get like so wrapped up in what's going on, but like embodying this, like your intuition and your spirituality, you see things from a different perspective. So like you're in the middle of like a conflict, for example, and you're not in it, you're seeing it from like, okay, I can see this person's like wounds and they're acting from this place, and then you just have like more compassion and grace for them. And like when aren't showing up as like the best mom, having grace for yourself, and just like that authenticity, like really embodying who you actually are, and not just like this human that's in all of these distractions, you
Mhm.
know.
Yeah. So it's almost like they're it's the conscious mom, the higher conscious mom, and approaching everything one, recognizing that they're human, because we need to give ourselves grace. If we try and be like it's like the archetype of the perfect mom, right? No such thing. So we're never perfect in the higher consciousness, because that's just freaking impossible. We're human beings. But the more conscious mom who has a pause and like recognizes where she's not in alignment with her desires or how she wants to behave and act and whatever, right? So it is about, taking the pause and approaching it from higher consciousness. Like you're arguing with your husband. Okay,
Mhm.
a minute. What can I release here? How can I be more conscious? How can I approach it from a higher perspective? And there might be something in there about like walking in a more like the way that you be is different, like shifting the way that you be. And it's coming through. It's like it's tapping into a different level of yourself, is what just came through. And have you ever interviewed any ideal clients, by the way? Not that they are already working with you, but these women would be your ideal clients. Have you ever talked to them?
Well, no, just the women that I've worked with, but not as like an interview, like what are your desires? Like what are you looking for?
Yeah,
No, not in
that
that way.
yeah, that would be worth it. And the women that you've worked with, have they paid the price point that you wanted to, or did you give them a different price point?
Different price point.
Okay, so would be worth speaking with the women. One, look at you've spoken with the women that you've already worked for at that price point, which is not your absolute most desiring, but they're still clients and they should be examined. So, or having a discussion is that taking 20 minutes, say I'm doing testimonials for my website or things like that, and ask them about their outcomes, their desires, like where they want to be, where the gap is, what is the ultimate emotional state, what they got out of working with you, and then getting all those scripts and transcript, and then also get it in an otter transcript, because then you can search for the words, right? Like how many times a certain word was used, because if you interview 4 women or even 3 women,
Hmm.
you're going to see patterns that are going to come across as in their language, and they're all therefore communicating to you in a consistent manner, and those are the types of words that you would want to have on your website. Then you would
I
do the
love
same for
that.
your ideal client at that price point. And she doesn't actually need to be your client. Like this is like, I want to work with this woman. Yes, great, whatever it might be, but just speak with her for 20 minutes. Usually takes about 30, but I go in with the 20 minutes and then be like, and I mean, you've seen me, I speak really quickly. So, but some people you can give, say it's 30 minutes if you're able to get that time. I'm just also conscious about people's time. Anyways, and just say, I would just love to have a conversation with you for 20 to 30 minutes, and love to ask you some questions. And it's really about what is that you desire to be? What are your pain points? Where do you desire to be? How do you feel on your downtime? What is it that you're doing? Or how do you want your business or your life to operate? And those are the gold seeds in there. And then again, when you use Otter, which is the automatic transcription, again,
Hmm.
can go through there, or actually Otter will give you a summary. Yeah, it'll give you a summary of the words that are used, so that you can actually get a comparison of how many times, or like a summary of how many times a word or a concept was used. Because those are the gems in there when you start to get the summaries and see their language, and then you sit with it and you're like, okay, this is coming through a lot. This is coming through a lot. So you want to reflect that back in your website, because then they see themselves. These women have literally given you the words and the gems, and like asking your previous clients, why did you work with me? Okay, what did you learn? Things like that. And like getting into the heart and into the like the crumbliness of it is actually going to give you a website copy that you can respond to. Does that all make sense?
Yes, this is so powerful. Thank you.
Yes. And like that is how they are speaking. And so why make your life harder? Again, I'm all about hacks. If I can like find healing hacks, I'm down for it. But it is that in this, it is like instead of sitting there and being like, oh my gosh, or just like writing it out. I actually used to be really afraid to have those conversations, mostly because even though I talk a lot, I didn't know how to have those conversations. And then when my own coach got me to do it, and just I think it was because I don't have, or I feel like I didn't have the ideal client um, who I'd already worked with, who'd come into my world. And she's like, would you just freaking ask somebody who is your ideal client? They don't have to be your client at this moment. And I was like, oh, I never thought about that. But when I did it, it made my life so much easier. But with my previous clients who weren't at the price point that I wanted, there's still valuable information about why they chose to work with you and what the point of difference was. So they will both be valuable. And that helps you write your copy in their language, right? Because again, you could write it in your language, or you can write in the language of your ideal clients. And that's going to make it so much easier because they're going to see themselves in there.
I love that. That's really powerful. The otter tool that sounds really good.
Oh, it's awesome. And then I'll use Chat GBT. I call it Chat GBT. It's Chat GBT. Sorry, GPT. But to like write your newsletters. So when you have, do you have newsletters right now? Are you doing them?
No, no, I haven't been doing anything with email or anything like that. I've been focusing on Instagram and then now
Awesome.
YouTube.
Yeah.
And I haven't done, yeah, I haven't done anything with email. Mm-mm.
Okay. So that is going to be one extension that you would want to start into your business. But this is how I work with my clients is that you can't do everything. You don't have the capacity. And as I always say, you have 5 kids. I don't know how you do it. And I get that you have an amazing partner, but still you have 5 kids. And they like just putting together your prioritization. And I actually, oh, humorously enough, I actually have my own right here. So I use this from a book, The Rockefeller Habits, and it's like the entrepreneurial Bible. I actually don't like the book. The font is like the paper is great, the font is too small. Hate it. A better book is called Traction, and that's a book that I work with my clients as they grow their businesses. It's got some really great systems and tools. But what I love from this is actually called the one-page strategic plan. And in there, it's got your targets, your actions, your initiatives, and your priorities. And so putting down those simple priorities. And again, I'm all about simplicity. I don't want hard. I don't want to make my life difficult. You may not even
Mhm.
like this form, but you can like put this into a Google document, whatever you might be. But I'll literally just do this. And this is literally how I grew $1 million business, was from this simple page plan. One page strategic plan is what it's called. And yeah, it is through Gazelles, Gazelles. That's the company of the Rockefeller Habits, who does the publishing. Anyways, but I literally would run $1 million business off this. Super simple. I don't
Wow.
believe in confusion. I'm not running 100 million, $200 billion, whatever business that is, one of the Fortune 500. I'm not. I can be simple. And so putting your targets on here and your priorities. So going back to your newsletter is I would, I was just thinking if you might put a newsletter sign up even just into your link tree, maybe not, because then you would actually need to produce a newsletter and promote it. But focus on your social media and your YouTube. But what you could do actually is that you could send over your YouTube videos over a newsletter. So then you're combining, you're not having to create anything else.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And then you would build an email list because you own that. That's the
Mhm.
difference. And so I don't know, one day, of course, when you are having a massive launch and your 200 people are all going to sign up in a minute, well, what happens if Instagram goes down that day? And so that's the usefulness and the tool for having like holding your own list, right?
Yeah.
And so it might be something that you put on your Q2 or your Q3 prioritization, but I would do a newsletter simply for that. And then going
Okay.
back to what I was talking about is that I'll actually put in there um, some like plugging in the scripts from the transcripts. You can actually plug them into Chat GPT and tell it to pull out the key themes. So it does the work for you, right? Or refining a newsletter, and whatever it gives me, I'll be like, no, like refine this. I love using the word refine in Chat GPT because it actually does so much of the work for you and it cleans it up and whatever. And then obviously I'll tweak it, I'll put my own energy on it, and
Right.
that's when I send out my newsletters. So it actually is that it's a simple thing to be putting onto your list as a priority and just using AI to be able to help.
I've used Chat GPT for some stuff and it's incredible. It's like having an assistant to brainstorm things back and forth with.
Totally. Yeah, it's super awesome. Um, Now, does that feel complete in regards to communication and your messaging?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. And it ties into like working on my financial goals, like having that one page paper to like list everything out from my strategies.
Yeah. So going to pricing, does it feel like it honors you and honors your expansion to be having a smaller target?
I right now I feel like that price does feel good with my nervous system. And I think that as things like take off for me, then I think that it'll be a good time to like increase my price. But I feel good about where it is right now.
Okay. And yeah, I think when you put it onto your strategic plan, or even just like you'll have your yearly thing, your yearly financial targets, is that absolutely increase it. Take 3 months in this, but even like when you're going into a money meditation, is that being an expansion, and actually that's the version that you want to be working from, is that expanded one, and so having two levels, like the desired calibration for the next 30 days, and then the next level of it. Because as
Mhm.
you stretch that energetic container, because of course we all have money thermostats. Have you heard of this concept?
No, will you explain it to me?
Yeah, so we all have thermostats when it comes to money, and
Oh.
I literally just learned what a thermostat was. Americans like are very familiar with them because you have hotter areas and air conditioning. Like we're pretty temperate here. Anyways, so when you set your thermostat to okay, hold on a second, I'm going to do this in Fahrenheit, for example, because I don't know Fahrenheit.
You can do it in
It's
Celsius.
70 degrees.
I'm
Okay.
like, I know it.
My dad loves the house at 20 degrees Celsius, which for me is just too cold. But he will put his thermostats at 20 degrees. And if the system, your heating system can track that the house is hotter, it will kick in to cool it, to turn off the heating, and vice versa, and to bring it up and down. Whereas for me, I'm like, I need to have 24 degrees. Like 20 is too hot. So when
Mhm.
you think about it from a money perspective, is that our bodies or our nervous systems have a money thermostat. So it will always kick in to keep us at that level. And so when you think about the money that you want to make, at what point is your nervous system like basement kicking in, right? Like my dad's heat basement is a lot lower than my heat basement. I start here. So if you think about it in terms of money, there's, $30,000 and then here's $150,000. And 30,000 is where it's always going to kick in. So that actually, even as you make more money, your random bills will show up, or things like, because you're at that energetic frequency, right? So
Yeah,
that is the work
absolutely.
that you want to do. Because if you continue to just work through here, you're going to stay stuck. And so, because your body will choose a familiar hell over an unfamiliar heaven. So it
Mhm.
will find a way to get rid of the money, or you will, and there's nothing wrong with a spending spree, like, or a shopping spree. I'm all down for that. But if you notice you're doing that all the time, it's because you realize that you're just completely like it's getting back into alignment with that money thermostat. So it's all going back to is that, again, if 30,000 feels great, but it's like when you're working on your nervous system with the whole thing, is that being in your highest self, what does her money look like? And being able to, then you do like a separate money meditation or calibration where it's feeling resonant and comfortable. And what does she look like? And what does she feel like? Because it's all, the nervous system is all about practice. The more that you can practice that heaven and prepare for that heaven, then your nervous system will allow it in. So the question is do you believe that your clients are not going to come in at your price point, or is it just your brain being familiar and be like, sorry, Samantha, not going to happen, can't happen, blah blah blah, which is, it's not true. What is Amanda Francis? She's a money coach. She calls it, she's like, it's all lies from the devil. And when I got that one, it was just like, so my brain is sabotaging me. Okay, good to know. Like literally, we self-sabotage. We live in a reality that's like not even true. When I found out money wasn't real, I'm like, hold on a second, people, you're like blowing my
What?
mind, right? And so that's it. It's the unlearning of where we're at and what is your brain willing to bring in. So that was a very long answer
No,
to
I loved it.
use it.
It really made sense and the visuals with it, and I resonated so much with it. So yeah, I loved it. That was
Awesome.
perfect.
Choose a number
Really
that
good.
feels comfortable, because then your body will start screaming at you, and try not to do it and come up with a house, and that probably the controlling. I mean, I'm at my next level, so I'm sure that's why my body is starting to scream at the how and everything, right? But there was
Yeah.
more to my control that I clearly obviously worked through today. but work with something that feels resonant. And because otherwise, if you go with something that is just too big, then your body will start screaming at you and it's not going to happen. You need to work through it. It's a titration, a calibration. And just like anything in the world, like your stocks are going to grow ever so much, like every year there's growth. And so start with where it feels comfortable, stretch it a little bit, but get comfortable into that stretch and then work to the next level. You can do all of whatever you want in a year, but maybe you just have different quarterly targets and get comfortable with them though.
Yeah, and yeah, just this whole thing, because I really wanted to know if like lowering my prices like aligned with expansion and the way that you've explained everything, I've definitely gone back to what feels comfortable
Mhm.
instead of being at a price that like feels a little stretchy and a little uncomfortable. But I'm like, you know, going towards expansion, and I really see that from a different light. So thank you for explaining it that way.
Somebody said to me recently that money responds to standards and money responds to you.
Mm.
So what are you holding about money and about your business and about yourself? Because again, if money is a secondary energy, or sorry, a supportive energy, so it has to respond to you, how's it responding to you? And what is it about the money and your family? Like if your family is saying, oh, you should be lowering your prices, do you want to live your life or your family's life?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but over the holidays, like being around family and just hearing other people's stories. They're not my story, but hearing them, it really affected me,
Mhm.
and it made me like, yeah, have a different, you know, uh, feeling towards money and all of that.
Yeah. So let me ask you, what is your dream client? How does it feel like to work with her? What's that transformation? What is your dream life? Like, what is that dream? What does it all look like?
Well, actually today, like working with you and we've worked together in the past, like that is so dreamy and yummy for me. Just like watching you in your power and like guiding you through that. That is like amazing to me because it just fills my heart because it's empowering you. Like you're in this space, you're allowing yourself to get to know yourself a little bit better. And I love that. I love that. Like you're willing to go there and do the work, and you're so incredible, and being able to walk you through those things that maybe like a lot of people don't understand that they have past lives, and you just jump right in. And so you or someone that yeah, that can connect with those things, and I can take them to like that higher next level. Like I really like working with people that are just starting out too. Like I had a woman and I was helping her connect with a past loved one, and she'd never done anything like that before. And like watching her um, be able to connect in a way that she never had was really cool. Afterwards, she had like all of this anxiety and she was like, was that real? Like, all of these things. And that feels really good. But being able to someone that's already like kind of on that path and taking them to the next level, it really energizes me.
I love it. So then what does that look like, feel like? And like I hate that write everything down and figure it out. But like my desk, seriously. Come on. I'm at fault for all of this reading and whatever, but it's fascinating to me. And again, as a projector, like I love this. Um, but taking some time, getting super cozy. I always say with a glass of champagne, but other people say with a cup of tea. But what does that next level feel like? What does it look like? Because if we're at this time in the world where we literally get to do, you see it on social media, you're going to get everything you want.
Mm-hmm.
But what does that look like and feel like? And what, just getting really, really clear, because especially when your nervous system is like, that's never going to happen. Yeah, I've got the roadmap right here. Thank you, nervous system. Calm down.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's that cheat sheet, that roadmap, that training your body and your brain and your nervous system and leaning into, well, what does Samantha want? How do I want it to be with my clients? Because we literally write our own script. If we're the
True. Yeah.
creators,
Yeah.
if the universe created Samantha to be able to take me through a past life regression, insane, but possible, you have that gift and it's real. What else can you create? What else is possible for you? And again, outside of the cookie cutter of how they've told you, Samantha, you need to be hustling and you should be messaging clients and you should be doing that. Like they're stretching and there's just like, I'm not fucking doing it because it doesn't resonate with me. Like we get the ability to do that. But again, it's like knowing the difference between intuition or procrastination.
Yeah.
But what, again, going back to the client, what is it that you love? Like, how does that come through? What are the juiciest moments? How can you build that into your website? And then internally being like, I'm so freaking good at this. I'm so freaking good. Like Sarah Jenks makes a 7-figure business through being a priestess.
I know. That's
It's
mind blowing.
possible. It's
Hmm.
just like she said on our call last week that she was talking with a Harvard professor or MIT professor, whatever. Um, and it was like, oh, I'm a professor. And she's like, I'm a priestess. And he was like, that's amazing. Like we literally are at that point in the world where this stuff is cool. It's normal. It's mainstream. The
Hmm.
fact that people go and check with their human design before they do things, like really, I could never have imagined this. So it's entirely possible. It's already there. So how do you want to lean into that and get the client and believe in it and to just fundamentally just do it at the money that you want?
Yeah, that's the part that I have to that's like cloudy for me and I need to sit with and visualize that. And I love how you have that up on the wall. And I have this space on my wall that I think that I need to do something like that. So I
Yeah.
can see it every day and just okay, this is what I'm aligning with.
Yeah. Because the subconscious works with feelings, emotions, and images. And so that's actually what the images are for. Because again, I was just like, oh my God, another thing I'm going to make myself do. But if I'm all about the hacks, then I'm going to have a vision board. But it's very expansive to look at my vision board. And so what expands you as opposed to going into everybody else's stories and narratives, what expands you and what is it that you want? And fundamentally, like, again, look at that perfect life that you have with your husband, your family, whoever it might be. But what are you doing in it? What does that life look like? Because your service, your contribution comes through your work, but then so does the money for the lifestyle without any guilt. We need money in this world. But again, what does your dream client look like? What does she do? How does it feel like to work with her? And just being super, super clear there.
I love how you're calling me out. It's it's so powerful.
I know. I think the world has also taught women to be guilty and to feel guilty about wanting money. It's not about wanting money. It's money's not even real. It's actually, and I literally had to learn that. It's like it's not about the money. It's about the way that I choose to lead my life and command my life and the standard of my life. Like we've talked about Kate Scudder being a homesteader, and you do stuff as well. Like I literally could not see myself doing it. I think it's amazing. It is not the right choice for me to even
Right.
attempt to do that. Those poor animals, it is just a bad idea. So like, but my joy is different. Your joy is different. You're built as Samantha Clark. What does Samantha Clark want and how does she want to run her life? And then money
Mhm.
supports that, or business, supports that. So what is it that you want?
That's amazing. Yeah, that's a really good way of looking at it. And it's I think why is that so hard to like to figure out what you want, you know? It should be an easy question. Joe was watching Goodwill Hunting last night and the and he was like, what do you want to be? And he was like a sheep herder. And it's just it's hard to answer that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, especially as women, we've talked about it in all of our masterminds and things, like we were taught not to have wants. And fundamentally, when you also have a family, and yes, you have a great partner and things like that, but somebody still needs to do the work of taking care of the kids. Like sometimes you just end up last. And when we have to remind ourselves to take care of ourselves.
Mhm.
So put yourself at the front. And what is it that you lead as the matriarch, right? What is it that you
Yes.
want?
Okay, I'm gonna work on that.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be long and stuff. And you can walk around, you can just talk about it and then you write it down. Do it the way you want. Get creative. So
Okay.
you don't have to sit there with like a freaking boring notebook if you don't want to. Do it your way.
Well, thank you so much. That was
Okay.
really inspiring, really helpful.
No problem.
And I don't know how long that was.
This is perfect timing. We are
Oh,
right on. So thank you for holding time and space and doing all that. And it, you know exactly what you want and what you need. I mean, you just did it for me. So work
that
on
is
that energy.
that is true.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I
Thank you for
really had a
having me.
great time doing
So did
this.
I.
It was very transformational, and I hope the viewers had a great time watching. And
Comments.
yes, yes, comment, like it, subscribe, and I will Almira, I'll check in with you and see how you're doing from all of this.
Love so.
and have a wonderful day.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you all for catching this. Thank you so much, Samantha. That was wonderful.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.